Hi, Philip Pinnacle from ProDad and ProDrenalin.com. We're here today to show you how our ProDrenalin Action Cam software can work together with Pinnacle Studio to create a better finished movie from your Action Cam and drone video clips. Why do you need both? Well, Pinnacle Studio does not have the ability to remove fisheye warp from video clips, and the ProDrenalin Stabilizer offers better stabilization for Action Cam and drone video clips in many cases. Think of ProDrenalin as a tool you'll use to fix the action camera drone related problems in your video clips before bringing them into Pinnacle Studio to assemble them into your finished movie. Let's get started and see how this all works. First, let me show you a couple of clips that need some repair, and then we're going to go repair them. I've got a number of clips here that I was going to make a video out of called Action Cam Awesome. So let's pick a couple of these clips that I know need some help and go through them and show you what ProDrenalin does and how it works. For the first clip, I've got a shot of a guy flying an RC plane with a little Mobius camera down in the Baja. And as you can see when we get into our footage, you can see we've got a bent horizon. And you can also see that it's very shaky and it's got other problems. So you see how that horizon is all bent and crooked? Well, let's go and fix this in ProDrenalin. I'm going to close that clip, come over to ProDrenalin, and I've got a group of files here ready for this tutorial. There's my clip. I'm going to open it. Let's go through and find a spot where our horizon is obviously bent and warped. Right about there looks like a good spot, just to show you how it works. This was done on a Mobius action camera, a really small, super lightweight camera, and we happen to have profiles for that camera. This was, I believe, done with the Mobius C lens and wide mode. Look at there. One click, single click, we have straightened our horizon. Studio can do a lot of things and trim your clips up, but one thing that it cannot do is undo fisheye warp, and a lot of times you'll get these pieces of footage from your action cameras and you just won't like the way it looks because a lot of people don't like that fisheye. Well, here was a super easy fix for it. Look at that. All of our horizons are now nice and straight, and it looks just a lot better that way. Next thing we can do is find a section of the video we like that we may want to use in our footage. Let's go, I believe there was a pretty neat spot somewhere around 245-ish or so. Somewhere in here he starts to make a turn. Right about there looks good. I'm going to put an endpoint right there. And then I'm going to come through my timeline, and right along here he starts to turn out of that line down the beach. I'm going to set the out point there. A couple more things we can do before we hit stabilize is there's some clip adjustments. See, the colors are kind of bright and washed out. We've got some presets right here in ProDrenalin where you can make your footage look lots of different ways. Some of these are things you may never want to use in a normal edit, but there's some fun things in there. A lot of times this number 100 is a good place to start. I like contrastier footage that has a little more punch to it. You can see over here when I clicked on that, the clip adjustment sliders moved around for me. I'm going to go back a little in my timeline to look at that. This is the green stuff, and all this is what I really want to see in my video. I'm going to mess around with those sliders just a little bit more to get it a little more to my liking. I'm going to punch the contrast up a little bit more. I'm actually going to back the brightness down a little bit more than that one had because it makes the colors in the sky come out better. The other two look pretty good. I'm going to keep that the way it is now. Now, next thing I want to do is I'm going to click on Stabilize Video. Now, there is stabilization within Pinnacle Studio, but what ProDrenalin offers above stabilization in most editing applications is we have the profiles for these cameras, which means we know how those cameras are going to behave, and we can do a little bit better job on the stabilization because we factor in the geometry of your lens and how the CMOS sensor works, and we can stabilize the video a little better. So I'm going to hit Stabilize. Let's let ProDrenalin do its thing. You can see it's working hard there. Okay, it's all done. Not a lot left to do that we need to fix that clip up, except export it. So I'm going to come over to Export Optimized Media, and I need to find a folder where I want to put that. And it's down here. I've got a folder for Pinnacle Review, Tutorial Content. I'm going to make a new folder in there called Fixed Footage. and that's where all my fixed clips are going to go. Okay, now when I hit the export, it's going to start exporting that file and putting it in that directory. Okay, that clip is all done. I'm going to remove it from ProDrenalin, and let's go look at another clip that we want to process. This particular clip is a fun little trip I wish I could have went on. A friend of mine goes ATVing a lot over holiday, and they shot this footage for me with a Sony Action Cam. Problem is, for some reason, it's really hazy and washed out, and you can see when I stop it, there's a lot of fisheye there. So let's use ProDrenalin to fix that up. I'm going to close that clip. I'm going to open it in ProDrenalin. It was 42. Okay, here's our clip. We still have that Mobius camera profile in there, which we don't want. I'm going to go up and I'm going to change that to nothing so I can come back here and show you this footage on the bridge. We can see there how the bridge is all bent and some of our poles are warped. Well, when I go down and select the Sony X1000V, boom, look at that. My railings are straight, my poles are straight, and now when I play my footage it looks right. But we still have that other problem to address, don't we? Those colors are washed out and it's really hazy. Once again, here's our presets. Do any of those do the trick? Let's try a couple of these. Like I said, I like contrasty looks. What's this one on the end do? Ooh, I don't like the blue. Alright, I'm going to come back to my standard. Well, 101 looks a little better on here, so I'm going to start with that. And I'm going to come back over here and punch it up some more. You can see the haze is almost magically going away. And pretty much everything else looks pretty good in there. If I click around a little bit to spot check other sections of my video, yep, that looks pretty good. So if I remember right, the beginning of this clip is where they entered the bridge, and I want to get a few sections out past the bridge where they're driving down the trails. So we got about 45-50 seconds of footage. Set my out point. And once again, I'm going to hit that stabilize, and because I selected my camera profile over here, I'm going to be able to do a better job of stabilization than most editing applications can, for the simple fact I know what my camera is doing because this profile is telling ProDrenalin exactly what needs to be done and how everything is working. So I'm going to click stabilize and let it do its thing. Okay, my stabilize is all done. I just need to come back up here again, export optimized media, and our folder should still be set to the one we had selected before. Fixed footage it is. Click OK. I just need to select export and let ProDrenalin export that to my folder, and it will be ready to bring into Pinnacle Studio for my Action Cam Awesome edit. Okay, our video is all exported. I'm going to come back over to my start menu, get rid of that one, and I got one more clip that I want to show you. I believe it was this one here. Let's look at this video clip. This one is just flat out fun. These guys are in wingsuits. That looks like way too much fun. I'm going to actually go into the video to a section where they're actually landing. And when some of these roads get over to the edge of the screen, see how that's warped right there? It's bent. It should be straight. Because if we go back in our footage to other sections, you can see it's a straight road right there. Well, let's go fix that in ProDrenalin. I'm going to close that out. Come back in here to ProDrenalin. That was called Feather 8-Way. I'm going to open that. Okay, let's find that spot where that road was crooked. Okay, it sort of looks straight right there. First thing I need to do is I'm going to turn this off so we can find it. And this is how ProDrenalin would be when you first open the program. Let's see, it should be right in here somewhere. Okay, there our road's getting a little bent. See it? It's got the little bit of bend to it. Let's find us if we can find us a little bit better spot. Okay, there it's bent a little bit more. This, I believe, was shot on a GoPro 4 wide mode. So I'm going to pick my GoPro 4 wide profile. And look at that. Road straightened right out. It's all fixed up. Now, all this other stuff is also going to be fixed back in here. There's no more fisheye warp in there. But we can see with our roads that they are much straighter and they look more natural and true. Don't really need this footage in my video. I just want the skydiving coolness. So I'm going to come back in here somewhere before the parachutes open. And that looks like a good spot to end it. I'm going to put me an out point there. And the end point, I'm going to slide in to where they're actually coming out of the plane. Okay, somewhere right about in there they start showing up into the viewfinder. So that's the section I want to work with. And you can see this one is, once again, a little hazy. Probably shot on a flat profile so you can correct it in post-production. So this time, instead of using a preset, I'm just going to do it right up here in my clip adjustments. I know I want to punch the contrast up and make those colors pop a little bit more. If we push the brightness too far, see the clouds turn blown up white. If I pull that brightness down a little bit, I can see more of the detail in the clouds, which I kind of like. Saturation looks pretty good. We don't need to do much with that. The white balance, those clouds look a little yellow, so I'm going to push them back to the blue side a little bit, to the cool side, and get them a little bit more what I think looks white. Now remember, if you want to see what your comparisons look like, this is before and this is after. So we've got the horizontal compare where we can see the before and after. We got a vertical compare where you can, depending on your footage, one of these may be better or worse for you to just check your work. It's a good way to do it. But remember, if you go and export with this checked, you're going to get a side-by-side comparison exported to video. So if you're going to use this in a major project or a full-on movie, you want to make sure you just click this on View Optimized. Okay, I've got the footage I want. We can see in here there's some really cool stuff. That just looks like a whole lot of fun. I don't know about you, but yes, this old man would probably even learn to do that if I was given the opportunity. I'm going to click Stabilize Video and let ProDrenalin do its thing and fix our footage. Okay, it's all done stabilizing. Let's go over to our export media, and our folder will still be set where it belongs. I just need to click Start Export, and it's exporting for us to import into Pinnacle Studio for our edit. That's all done. I'm going to close out of ProDrenalin now. Alright, here we are in Pinnacle Studio. Now real quick, I'm just going to show you how to get your project started. If you need help editing in Pinnacle Studio, see my other tutorial on basic editing techniques for Pinnacle Studio 19. First thing I need to do is to get my files in so I can work with them. I'm going to come over here to the side, click on New Project Bin. I'm going to call this Action Cam Awesome. Okay, I've got a new bin. Next thing I need to do is import some files. The easiest way for me to do it is to right-click, Quick Import. Let's go to my folder where I put all my content, Pinnacle Review, tutorial content, fixed footage. Okay, you see all the clips here. Those are the ones that were in that other folder that I wanted to use in my video. I'm going to highlight all of them and import, and here they come. And I now have a bin full of clips to use in my movie. Need to come up here, File, New Movie. Now that we have our timeline ready to go, it's very simple. Just take the clips that I worked on. Okay, we did the one in the Baja. That looks like it right here. I'm going to set my endpoint should be pretty close. Okay, right where it finishes the turn, that's where I want my endpoint. So I'm going to drag my cursor and my endpoint up to there. For my out point, I want it before the turn out. That looks pretty good. Click OK. Drag it down to my timeline. Super easy. Got that one done. Okay. The next one I want to work with is that ATV footage. Remember that stuff? Okay, here is that footage. For this part of my clip, I may want to use two portions of this clip. I just want to get some of it going over the bridge, but I don't need the stuff after they leave the bridge. I may use that in a different part of my project. So let's get that section on the bridge. We're going through. Oh, we're past the bridge. Let's come back. Okay, that looks like the end of the bridge right there, so I'm going to drag my out point back somewhere around that 25-second mark, right in there. Click OK. And now all I need to do is drag that back down onto my timeline. And that third clip, that was the feather 8-way, wasn't it? Okay, here's our footage. And those guys show up right along in here. That looks like where they're starting to do some really cool stuff. I'm going to set my endpoint right in there. And this one I don't need a whole lot. I just want that really cool formation stuff. That looks like a good spot right there. Click OK. Drag that down to my timeline. You can see it's super easy to build your movie right off the footage that we used out of ProDrenalin. Remember, we used ProDrenalin to fix the fisheye, to stabilize it, and to do some simple color correction in ProDrenalin, just because it's so easy and it's convenient right there. Remember, ProDrenalin can do a little better job on your stabilization because we know the cameras and we know how they're going to behave. It also can take the fisheye warp out of your video. That's something very few editing systems can do, and Pinnacle Studio does not have that feature to de-fisheye warp your footage. Your copy of ProDrenalin is a great tool to start off your workflow with. Bring it in to Pinnacle Studio, edit your finished movie. Remember, if you need more technique and more ideas and help editing your video, see my other tutorial. It shows you how to add titles, to export, and to do more detailed trimming and everything within Pinnacle Studio. Till next time, get out there, shoot some fun footage, edit some fun footage, and make that epic movie. Thanks. Have a good one.